Tretinoin, which is the gold standard of all anti-aging, one of the most researched ingredient, has so many myths around it. I hear all kinds of things all the time, especially the comment section, and every time I try and answer it, it is crazy because YouTube or even Google has just so much information.
True.
Today, we're going to talk about it. Hello, and welcome to Skincare Simplified. I am Nipun, your skincare bestie and a certified skincare consultant. You are watching the Derm Approved series with me and Dr. Summer, and we're talking about tretinoin, facts versus myths, so that all of those questions that you've been asking me for such a long time get answered correctly, accurately. So let's get started. Dr. Summer, myth number one, tretinoin will thin your skin.
So that's actually a myth. Yes, when you first start using tretinoin, it can thin out the outermost layer of the skin, which is called the stratum corneum. And that's common when you first start using tretinoin. It can actually cause some irritation, some scaling, but multiple good studies have shown that tretinoin can thicken your epidermis, thicken your dermis by stimulating collagen production. So the final result is actually thickening of the skin. So always rely on.
So it actually does the opposite.
So never get your information from TikTok, from random sources. Always look at studies and good studies, not just
yes, because I think studies are also very important. And here I just want to talk about studies and different kinds of studies. There are independent studies, right? There are closed group studies. And then there are studies which are actually published in reputed papers by
peer-reviewed journals,
peer review, etc., which I think makes a lot of difference to the information you're getting. Because I feel today what is happening is that it's like a large box of chocolates, and people are just about picking individual pieces of information that kind of suits what they want to share with you, and all of it seems true while some of it may be completely untrue. So fact number one, or myth number one, is busted. Tretinoin will not thin your skin out. In fact, it is going to make your skin thicker
and healthier.
Will it make it plumper?
Yes, I mean, by stimulating that collagen, yes, for sure.
Thicker, plumper, more youthful. Amazing. Number two, you're going to die. Like, tretinoin is going to kill you. It's toxic.
So studies have shown that very small amount of tretinoin that is applied topically is actually absorbed into the skin. So minimal absorption. You're not gonna die, guys. But we do. You're
not gonna die. See, there's a doctor telling you you're not gonna die.
if you were gonna die from tretinoin, then I would be long dead. Trust me.
Yeah.
So we do recommend avoiding it in pregnant women, even though the systemic absorption is very low, just to be on the safe side.
Also here, I want to talk about systemic absorption. Just because something is getting absorbed in the skin doesn't mean it's going in the bloodstream. You know how stuff goes into the bloodstream. You know, you inject, you cut. There has to be a way for something to get into your bloodstream, then go away everywhere it has to, and then cause an issue. Just skin absorption is not going to mean that it's going into your bloodstream, It's spreading in your body. And if you guys are watching me from New Delhi, I am from New Delhi, toxins, let's not even talk about toxins. The air we are breathing, we are just lucky that we're all not dead with the number of things that are happening. And I think number three, cannot be used lifelong. And maybe this is coming from the fact that it is toxic.
Could be, but none of my patients have actually asked me this question, but tretinoin is safe to be used long term. There are periods where you might want to maybe reduce the frequency of application. If you, for example, even so at first when you start using it, of course you might get some irritation. That's
correct.
Normal.
Yeah.
But sometimes patients tell me, oh, I've been using it for years, and then all of a sudden they developed irritation because sometimes the weather might change, you might travel. So yes, you could develop some new irritation. So in such cases, I would reduce the frequency of application. Another case where I would stop it is if you're pregnant or breastfeeding. And a third case, if you, for example, you want to do a cosmetic procedure like laser resurfacing, microneedling, I would stop it maybe a few days before, just so that your skin isn't very sensitive before the procedure.
Yeah, in fact, I say this all the time. Even if you wax your face, which if you do, you should be stopping all of your actives, exfoliants, everything a couple of days before, and continue to take that break till your skin settles. So just don't wax your face and go put tretinoin. Not a good idea. And I want to also talk about one more thing here when we're talking about lifelong use or when would you want to stop. So, in my view, I think if you're going, like if you're traveling, you're going for a beach holiday, you may want to like not use tretinoin because you know you're going to be on the beach, the sun exposure is going to be strong. Even with like application, reapplication, you might have sensitivity. So you have to look at life events and then decide whether or not you want to use tretinoin at that point. For me personally, I have tried to take breaks just to understand how my skin looks when I'm off tret and I don't like myself. I'm
I've
an
been using
addict.
tretinoin for 15 years. Trust me, it's my favorite after sunscreen.
After sunscreen, yeah, like I feel like I'm a tret addict, and which is why I just feel that it is a product. Obviously, this is a life
It
change.
works,
It
it's
works.
safe, so why stop?
Why stop? And it's actually not that crazy expensive. I mean,
True.
look at look at one of these fancy Dior creams or La Prairie or any of those. I mean,
It's less expensive than other less effective ingredients. Let's just say that.
yeah. The next one, which is actually coming from the third one, is you need to constantly take breaks. Otherwise, your skin's going to become super sensitive to tretinoin.
So again, that's not really true because a lot of patients have been using it for years. It's not irritating them, so you don't have
So basically, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So if it's not irritating you, don't have to take breaks. Continue with it. But if it is irritating you, take a break. But chances are, if you've gone through the process of you getting onto tret correctly, and we're going to speak about it towards the end, then you should be fine. And yes, this one is my favorite. It causes okay. So this is in two parts. Number one, tretinoin can boost hair growth.
So there are some studies that have shown that tretinoin, when used together with minoxidil, which is another ingredient that we use for androgenetic alopecia, which is basically hereditary hair thinning,
Correct.
it actually increases the efficacy of the minoxidil, and
For better from like it allows it to penetrate better.
And it has been shown to increase blood flow to the hair follicles, meaning more nutrients, more growth factors going into the hair. So we do use tretinoin together with minoxidil on the scalp. Now, another myth, which
so here we're talking about scalp hair, right? Tretinoin can boost scalp hair growth
in androgenetic alopecia, not in all patients.
Not in all patients.
Yes.
And the second myth is it will cause facial hair.
So that has been, there's only one report in the literature. There was a man who was using tretinoin for his acne on the beard, and then the beard hair increased in density. To be honest, I have seen very, very few cases, like I can count them on my fingers in the clinic. Mm-hmm. It can happen because I've seen it, but it's definitely not very common.
It's not common.
Yes.
So what should a patient do? Say somebody is a tretinoin user, they've been using it for a few months now, they noticed facial hair is increasing. Stop tret, go to retinol?
No, first, if they notice facial hair increasing, I would first go to the dermatologist or gynecologist or endocrinologist, because there might be
other reasons,
internal causes that are leading. So don't just blame the tretinoin gets blamed for everything. Don't just blame the tretinoin. It could be other things. If everything has been ruled out, it could be related to the tretinoin. So we might try maybe to.
But given that one study that was reported with that man where beard grew, he was also a man, right? So
correct.
Physiologically, men and women are different. This is correct. So basic. I don't know why I still have to clarify this, but physiologically, we are different. So he was a man with a beard.
Exactly.
And the beard density increased.
Yes.
Good.
Good for him.
Good for him. Okay, so and this is a very valid point, because I have not seen a lot of it, but I do see in the comment section that I feel that my facial hair has increased. It could be a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. It could be see your gynecologist, see an endocrinologist. It could be other bodily organ functions that are causing this. Don't blame the portrait. It's beautiful.
I know.
Okay. And at this point, we want to talk about another ingredient that has been kind of trending in the last 6 months, Tazorac. Mm-hmm. That it is way better than tret, and Tazorac is super good, and you shouldn't be using tret but using Tazorac. What's your view on it?
So tazarotene is actually another retinoid. It's a third generation retinoid. The structure of it is more rigid compared to tretinoin. It is, there are some randomized controlled trials which have shown that it is faster acting compared to tretinoin, but then at the end point, both were as effective. And there are other studies that might show a bit of increased efficacy.
And I want to repeat here, randomized control studies. It doesn't mean it's everyone. It means a randomized control study could also be 10 people, right?
Yes, so of course, so we should, it's not just enough to say randomized control to say, oh, what a great study. We have to look at the number of patients. So
Exactly.
of course, the higher the number of patients, the more we can rely on the study.
And I think I mentioned this in my video, which was posted, I think, a month ago, because I've forgotten, where we did compare the two. And I did quote this particular study where I did say it acts faster, but the end result is the same. And even though
I have to say, it is more expensive compared to tretinoin.
So and it could also be more irritating. It is, right? So it does work faster in some cases, but it is more irritating and it is more expensive. Why do you want to take it? Like, what's your point?
We're not saying it's bad.
We're not saying it's bad.
Good, but I wouldn't just stop my tretinoin if you like it and just jump into Tazorac just.
And I think skincare is so important. Like, you gotta stop following trends, right? Like, you've gotta stop looking at every new ingredient that's being launched, because you really gotta consider your own skin and what it likes. I've always maintained this, right? It's the largest organ of your body. You've got to listen to it. You've got to take care of it. So Tazorac, in your view?
It's great. I mean, it's great. I love retinoids in general. Okay. I cannot say it's not good.
All right. But it may or may not be better. At the end, it's the same.
At the end, both are giving excellent results.
And I want you to talk through my favorite formula from Illic and why is it so good. So some of you guys who are watching me for the first time, this is new for you, but for a lot of you, you know the formula, but don't skip it. Please tell us. Tell us about the formula, which I so love, which you've given me from Illic.
Yes, so the formula you are on actually has tretinoin, and the percentage of tretinoin can vary according to the patient.
At 0.25.
Yes, so other patients are on 0.05, others are on less, depending on their sensitivity. If they're a beginner, they've never used it before. It also has niacinamide.
5%? 5%, I think 4 or 5%.
I think 4%.
4%.
And it has azelaic acid.
Yeah.
So these are excellent ingredients. They help to stimulate collagen production. They help to reduce acne, even out the skin tone. So many benefits. And tell us more about your experience when you started using it.
So when I filled out the form, right, when you get onto illichealth.com, there's a form and you need to tell about what are your concerns. I did put out acne-prone skin because last year I had this terrible situation with hormonal acne. Mm-hmm. It comes back every few months, disappears, leaves me with scars, and then I'm usually using an azelaic acid or something like that to treat the scarring, which I do then take it into my AM routine or my PM routine. My PM routine for years has been a retinoid. Like since 2019, I would combine it with a niacinamide. Oftentimes, I would combine it with the peptide. So I kind of switch between the two. And the fact that I got 3 of them together, I was really excited, right? Because I now know that no need to layer 3 different serums. And I like layering, okay? It's not like I don't like layering. But and I've tried it. I've tried using 10% azelaic acid with my tretinoin, and it irritates me. 10% azelaic acid with a mild retinol over the counter can still work, but you can't combine the two, not for me, not for my skin. And therefore, I feel this formula is so good. I also feel this would really work for people who just want to even out their skin tone. Even if you're not acne prone, I think because azelaic acid does have brightening, slight exfoliation, all of those qualities, I feel this formula is fabulous because it'll work for pretty much everyone. Because as we age, despite the sunscreen discipline, age spots is a thing. Correct.
And it's also a great anti-aging cream in general for patients who just want to maintain their skin and slow down that aging process.
I use it on my body as well.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Not slather it, but like I use it. And I have to talk to you guys about this one thing. Please don't take your Tret and squeeze it into a tub and then put CeraVe in it. I know you've all been seeing it. Don't do it. So the way I use it on my body, I use it on my hands because I feel like I'm going to get grandma hands very soon. I actually use the product and then I use a cream or a lotion.
That's so much better.
Yeah.
It's better controlled. You're not just diluting the ingredients and making it uneven.
And I literally saw this person on TikTok. She was mature and she was white. And you know how white people wrinkled really fast? And she squeezed a tube of Tret into CeraVe and literally went like mix, mix, mix. And she said, Derms haven't caught on to this. I'm sure they will, and this is the best thing. And she's completely wrinkled. And I was like, baby, that didn't work for you. Like, it didn't work for you.
We
So like,
don't want to bully people,
we
but
know.
I have to say, so you have to keep in mind that the containers that we have for Illic are airtight,
Yeah.
UV, protecting from UV.
Yeah, because they're
so-
dark, they're opaque. So it's not like something that's going to get exposed to light. And it's an airless pump, pretty much. So it's airless pump, it's opaque, and that kind of works really, really well. That makes sense. I hope your myths and your questions are answered. But
I want
have
to
you
end
heard?
with one thing,
Yeah.
just how to use tretinoin in general.
Please,
this
yes.
is very, very, very important. So again, introducing it slowly into the routine is crucial. And we're repeating ourselves, but I think this is very important. We start, for example, with twice per week, then we make it 3 times, then we increase gradually until we feel we're tolerating it.
Yeah.
If you tolerate it every night, then good for you, go for it. If not, I mean, 4 times, 5 times per week is also excellent. That is the frequency. When it comes to the amount, it's not, in this case, it's not the more the merrier.
Yeah, it's not the more the merrier.
It's a pea-sized amount. Divided all over the face.
Yeah.
You want to try to avoid your eyelids and the
corners
area
of your
around
mouth,
the lips, especially at first. But I'm gonna tell you, I've been using Tret for a long period of time. What I do now is whatever small amount I have left, I just
dab it around.
But I'm a pro. Like I'm an expert.
And she can self-treat herself because she's a doctor. So yeah, that is super important. I think how to use Tret is really critical because I do feel a lot of people mess that up. And there's another thing I want to talk about here. You spoke about how many nights you can do it comfortably. I feel a lot of times people kind of damage their skin trying to use too much of it. Like there's like, I don't use it 7 days a week. Oh my God, I need to train my skin. And I've said this a million times. Your skin's not the gym, right? It's not like you lifted 10 kilos today and tomorrow in 3 months you're going to do a deadlift of 100. That's not it. You don't have to train your skin. Your poor skin is a self-learning organ, right? It heals, it repairs itself, it does so much for us. So you don't really need to train your skin, but if you can use it, say 3 to 4 times a week.
That's also great.
That's also great,
that also
right?
works for sure.
And do you always need to keep going higher? Say, what if your skin can't take a 0.5 or a 1%?
No, you don't have to keep going higher. There are patients with very sensitive skin, with rosacea, who cannot take the higher percentages, and that's completely fine as long as you're using a good percentage and consistency is key. So consistency is more important than just going higher, damaging your barrier,
To recap, tretinoin will not thin your skin. Tretinoin is not toxic. The air you're breathing potentially is. It can be used lifelong. You do not need to take breaks. It will not cause facial hair. And if it does, it is a very, very rare situation. It can potentially help hair growth from a scalp perspective, but then limited studies and there are products that have to come in. People have to tell you how to use it. We're not going to talk about it, but when we can, we will talk about it. And at the same time, you've got to start slow. And even if you can't go up to a 1%, that's all right. This is not a race. You don't have to overachieve.
0.1%.
Yeah, you don't have to overachieve in this field. You've got to be comfortable. You got to feel good. I hope you're feeling good. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you next time. Till then, take great care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.